theoretically. I'm streaming now. Yoink. Look at all those me's. Now we have to check if we're actually streaming. Hmm. Okay. Which I didn't really check about anything. This was more of an impromptu start, so I guess we're live, presumably. Can we hear ourselves? Probably. Blah, blah, blah. Channel. Over here. What? What? Okay, now. Yep, that's me. Okay, we're in, presumably. And now I'm gonna mostly forget about that, right? No, I do. How do I do this? I know what I'm doing, right? Look here. No. Oh, I need that. I need to be able to see the chat. Da da da. Window, docs, chat. Okay. Now that should be visible. And now I am here. Okay, now let's figure out what we're actually doing. Ah. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I need to be doing. Kind of too much to be doing. And it's like, yeah, I was procrastinating from actually like recording a video, so I decided to just turn on the live stream and see if I can kind of like, I don't know, if nothing else, I'm getting something out there. So, sort of a click first and plan later type of situation. So let's see, where are we at in this world? This is SkellyCam version 2.0 point something dash alpha 1, I believe. Yeah, there. GitHub release. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, so that happened latest. I don't know. What is that? I don't remember making that. Ugh. And then, all right. Yeah, a lot of slop here. So we got this. So docs.freemocap.org/skelicam. Download. Does it get the right one? It doesn't get the right one. So that's probably some slop. Oh, and now it just doesn't get nothing. Great. Good. That's great. That's what I wanted. Um, this is running from source. Ugh. I broke everything. Why doesn't that download work? Let's see. I think I should be able to check that. It's trying to be clever and automated and stuff like that. But clearly it's not. And I forgot that I had just pushed a new tag, which would break something before I checked it on this. But let's go in here. Skelicam docs. Fourth pages. Download. In the fucking. We'll find out if that one. So possibly to my deficit. Hey, Mark of Argyle, I remember you. Uh, Evening means you're probably over. I'm guessing you're in Europe somewhere by the time zone. I broke everything, and I'm trying to figure out why. Do Skelly docs, and need to check how it detects what version it is. Source, no, Skelly docs. No, it would be in here. Theme, no. Pages, core, GitHub utils, roadmap. Fuck. I don't even know what to update. Oh, templates. Yeah. Docs. Nope, that's not it either. Bin? No. CSS. Pages. Static. Source components. Download. Thinks. Oh, it's from me. That's coming from inside the house. Then why are we secondary linking to it? I don't think that's necessary. I guess we'll find out. Probably the source of the bug where the header goes away if you go straight to it. And okay, so we're looking for the version, default version. Okay, so we can probably fix that. That's probably, I feel like default version is automatically stupid because we should not be, we're supposed to be detecting the version, not setting a default. That's correct though, unless, oh, we're missing the V. Are we accounting for the fact that there's supposed to be a V in front of that version? Use state, yeah, it's trying to. Okay, so why then? Shit. So, okay, so Control Shift R. Yeah, and there's nothing up there, and we're not detecting anything. It was working, and now I broke it. God damn it! I broke it in prod because of mistakes. That's okay. It's alpha. Alpha's broken. Everybody knows it. This is also one of those problems that's like fiddly and annoying, and I don't want to do it myself. I want to ask the robot to do it, but I'm out of tokens on Claude until 6. And I don't have any real viable alternatives that would sort of do the same kind of like fiddling through the pieces to figure out where the bug is. So I'm just gonna leave it. Fuck it. We'll be fine. It's I don't feel like thinking right now. System detector, system helper. Let me check if this is broken in the way that I remember it being broken. But having issues with localhost. Hey, Studio Galt, how you doing? npm npm start. Yeah, I've been having issues like things on like localhost just not displaying. It's probably some kind of firewall nonsense, but in any case, it makes it so it's hard to test the docs site locally, which means I end up pushing stuff that's untested, which leads us to the situation where the docs is broken, even though it was so nice before. So if I go here go straight to it. There, okay, so it is there. And it's the old one. It's not detecting the latest tag. And then this is the local host that's going to, yeah, so then it tries to load and then you get that little brief window of an error and then it goes away. Nice. Yeah, I haven't really messed with Llama in a while, to be honest, which I'm assuming is what you're referring to with Meta. Uh, I hear Quen. I hear people like Quen as a local coding model. Um, I'm a little bit addicted to Claude right now, and I feel like I should wean myself off. But it just works really well. Um, and but then it leads to situations like I'm in now where things are broken, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to sort through my own slop to fix this. Okay, well, um, okay, I guess so. We can live with that. So if you go SkellyCam, go to the docs.freemocap.org/SkellyCam. Got these nice new things. Um, there should be docs like this kind of stuff. It is AI sort of generated text, but I did go through it, make sure it's mostly accurate. A lot of the theme of the current state of development is like, I was able to sort of like cross some thresholds using the machine, but there's a lot of slop that needs to be cleaned up. It's basically speed running the development cycle that leaves behind a lot of tech debt. But proliferate and prune is always good. And that's funny. And Komodo. I've heard of Komodo. Somehow meta is gatekeeping. Yeah, it's uh-huh. Kinematic motion diffusion. Oh, it's a person. Uh-huh. Movement generation. This is relevant to my interests. Is it generative? Oh, it's a data set. On a model generates, yeah. Text prompts. Okay, yeah, I've seen that. In betweening, yeah. That's a good use of these kind of generative things. But alas, here at FreeMoCap, we are coupled. We have empirical grounding as a core philosophy, so some tools are not available. Um, okay, yeah. So the docs work. They point to alpha point O, which is honestly fine. I added some sort of nice to haves in alpha point one. Specifically, I think the updating, ironically, is um, added, and then I added some. So, did I add the red should be showing up? Yeah. And then once we're done recording, we hit that again. We should see a little pop up that gives us this. That's all new and not in the one on the docs, but we'll fix it later. Doo doo doo. And the playback looks pretty okay. Pretty happy with it, except that it is not frame perfect. Oh no. So the playback uses the video methods of like browser-based video methods, and browser-based video methods have at this point in history pretty much fully abstracted away from the concept of frames and now have just the concept of like a stream with like whatever iframes or b frames, whatever the hell it is, which makes it, as far as I know, all but impossible to actually run a video using browser-based methods in a way that you can sort of say, I want this frame exactly. Like the best you can do is sort of like set a timestamp and then kind of hope, which is not good enough in our world. It is in fact the whole reason why the video-based method relies on like a back-end server Python process is to give us that sort of frame-based camera control. But again, as per theme, I vibe coded a bit close to the sun with this playback tab, and it did almost a totally good job. But like, as I found is the case when using AI for stuff, is like once you get out of what it has experienced as part of like that, once you get out of the standard use cases of things, and you sort of like get pretty far from the training set, whatever the training set is, what was I gonna say, the sum total of human experience on the internet, the bot tends to screw up, and so like it has a really hard time. It's like, no, it needs to be the exact frame, and it's like, yeah, we got a whole system for that, and I'm like, it's like, is it perfect? It's like, probably, but it isn't. So I need to write that bit myself or just give it more scaffolding. The main trick is that the playback system has to go through the back end in the same way that the camera control system does, because I can control frame grab, fidelity, in the Python side using OpenCV methods, and it just has to, we've already got a lot of stuff set up for it to be efficient. So I just need to kind of tap back into that for the playback. Also, it's annoying I have to do this every time I go through, but anyways, you can see for this longer recording, which is only a minute, which is not even that long. Also, the auto grid seems to struggle with 5. It does great with even numbers, but for the 5, it doesn't handle it. Also, the resize handle is invisible on the playback, even though it's visible on the cameras, and I won't go back to the cameras because I have learned in this recording that if I do, I'll have to reselect the recording, which is not, which I don't want to do. But as we can see, actually, I don't know if you can see on the stream, but you got the frame number here, and in this one they're all accurate, if I scroll ahead, they get off. Yeah, so now we're, 54, 50, 50, 48, 46. So the frame numbers are perfect, lock synced, synchronized, but the playback is not. So I sort of like throw up a little disclaimer, call it good, and then fix it later. Alpha means known broken. Anyways, that's me rambling about playback. What are we doing today? All right, we're just kind of blobbing. What else are we working on? Yeah, so I think like if I were like I think that Skelicam is kind of it's in a good place. Like I'm happy to have I've sort of have official unofficial sort of like alpha release like has kind of happened. The new docs are live. You can download the alpha version. Again, in this in this stream, I discovered that it is not actually getting the latest bump of the alpha. I just pushed alpha 0.1, which like the way that we grab from the releases tab does not work. But also, if you're here right now, you can go here. Well, it's a draft, is it? It's a draft, is it? Let's call it set as pre-release. I'm actually just gonna go ahead. Should I do that or should I write about it? I'm gonna set it as a pre-release, I guess. I'm not ready to call it full release because I would want to have some explanation in the text of what it actually is in the main request to. Hey, don't step on the keyboard. Why is your let's see. What am I doing with my life? Yeah. Call it. Yeah. So still calling it a pre-release. I need to write something in this before I'll call it a release. But I'm happy. I think at this point I'm happy to have. Oh wait, no, is that what I was doing? Oh right, let me. Okay, no, I got it. Let's discard this draft, which we don't need. This is a problem of the automation, the build automation. Created a new release on tag instead of updating the one that exists. My actual plan was to keep this release alive and then edit it to point to the latest tag under the alpha, the latest tag number under the alpha. And so now, oh, right. And then the downloads page is looking at the releases, not the tags. Which is probably how it should be. I don't know, man. I don't know. Download. Now if we reload. Oh, wait, we knew that wouldn't work. Did we know that wouldn't work? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Hard to say. Okay. Yeah. Oh, right. Stupid. Ugh. So we do have, so we changed, we pointed at the tag, we didn't update the artifacts. So the downloads page is now pointing at the correct tag, and then it compares that tag to the associated release and says, I'm not finding things with the right name. Okay. So that's what's wrong. I'll fix it later. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. Oh, I deleted the other one. Fine. Alpha O. Yep. Okay. Thank you. You can go. Thank you. Bye. Update set as pre-release. What was it already? That's the pre-release. And so now this should go back to working like it was, pointing at the 0.0 release, but not when I reload it, because for some reason that doesn't work. But if I go back to the parent and click on download, there we are again. Jesus Christ. This is not accurate. We'll fix it. Where were we? Yes. So, where we are in the project is, I don't really want to draw. I could draw. Yeah. So Skelicam is, I think, about good for what we would call alpha. There is a sort of soft release of alpha, floating around in various ways and means. It's mentioned in the server. If you go through the regular route and click on the thing and go to the download and do that, you'll get the 0.0 release, which is mostly good. And by the time you unless you're watching this live, by the time you actually see this if you're watching this significantly after March 30th, this problem will probably be fixed. And I think I kind of got, so anyways, that's where we are. Let's call Skelicam alpha release sort of live. And now I kind of find myself in like a little bit of a sort of the mental transition space of like what I really I'm split between wanting to polish this up. Like these beginner tutorials aren't good. Like, again, a lot of this is AI generated, kind of like human curated, but I looked at it and validated it, but the AI wrote the text. So I think it's mostly accurate. But there's probably slop. The vibes are certainly off. And then there's these little broken bits here. But I can pin them. What's I saying? Yeah, and so, I think that I should actually, like, strangely enough, I should resist the urge to polish SkellyCam, because that is not SkellyCam's job. SkellyCam's job is to A, do cameras, and B, provide the practice necessary to do the real work in FreeMoCap. And all the extra additionals, like the fact that Skelicam, the result, it lives as its own standalone application, is kind of like bonus. It's like it's useful for people. It's a useful tool. It's good to have, kind of just like, hey, do you want to have the synchronized recording methodologies without any of the additional sort of complexity of FreeMoCap proper? Hey, here you go. But ultimately, it is a means within the FreeMoCap project. It is a means to an end, and it's a way to kind of like test out the basic strategies as we prepare for the actual factual general thing, which is FreeMoCap core, as we're calling it. So let us consider that. Okay, yeah, and how we'll do that is we'll look at FreeMoCap itself, and then sort of like, I think what I want to do with this stream is kind of like map out the work that needs to be done in order to sort of transition into FreeMoCap proper. And a lot of this is kind of in service of this false deadline, fake deadline that I kind of made for myself, based off of some things I've said in the past in various recorded and unrecorded and public and private settings, to the effect that there would be some version of FreeMoCap alpha available by the end of Q1 2026, which is also me pretending to be able to speak that sort of corpo speak. Q1 is quarter one, which officially is what is it, January through March of a given year. And seeing as how we are now at the end of March, we are officially at the end of that Q1 that I promised there would be some functional form of FreeMoCap Alpha by. Um, da, da, da. But everything is made up and arbitrary, so I choose to first of all check if I made anything, if I docked myself. I don't think I did. Um, but I choose to call this whole week the end of Q1. And so I have some other tasks I need to be doing within this. But I think in the spirit of the project and in the spirit of the guy in the server that has been posting, like someone in the server has started posting, like not started, they're cool, but they were posting like countdown stuff of like, one month to FreeMoCap 2, or 1 month, 12 days. The one where he was like 12 days, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's coming right up. And he was targeting April 1st, which I'm not going to target. I'm going to give myself the grace of the full week. So within a week, I will I'm just giving myself the arbitrary deadline target to sort of get something together by the 6th, even if it's just like some detailed instructions on how to use the new Skelicam with the old FreeMoCap stuff. Studio Golf, do I need the retargeter? Yes. So in terms of using FreeMoCap right now, the recommendation is to use version 1 like we have been. And so Andres has been actively developing the FreeMoCap Blender add-on, and there's retargeting functionality in there. A lot of people do a lot of retargeting towards Unreal, and then just general Mixamo stuff. Once you start talking about retargeting, you have pretty much, like, at that exact point of jargon kind of left my purview of expertise. Like I know what it is, but I just don't, like, my brain just doesn't bother going there. So for retargeting stuff, the latest FreeMoCap Blender add-on, which you can find just by searching for that on the GitHub repo, has retargeting capabilities. If you have questions, pop into the server and ask, and then someone will help. But yeah, part of the whole vibe of V2 is to, like, the vibe of the transition now from version 1 to version 2 is that version 1 is kind of in like end of life LTS support, meaning like it is what it is. It's probably not getting much better. We are probably going to push a new minor version that actually will increase the, like, it's also from Andres, like an outlier rejection method that will improve the quality of the build, like significantly, I think. But it's backwards compatible, so you can reprocess old stuff. But one of the big bottlenecks there is, like, it's just hard to add complexity to the controls. And so if you want to have stuff like retargeting and sort of like adding that kind of stuff, like, that's not going to be in the version 1 of FreeMoCap ever. That lives in the Blender add-on, but we're just never going to add that much new complexity to the system. To that system. Version 2, on the other hand, will have, at some point, retargeting, using kind of the new architecture, which should be more sophisticated and sort of allow for more sort of long-term development and, complexity management and stuff like that, particularly in the UI side. Cat butt. Okay. On that note, yeah, and so the I think right now the recommendation is like and this is the part I think that I will definitely have done by the end of the week, is just some sort of official instructions on what I recommend in the moment, if you want to get kind of like the best of both worlds, as we are in this transitional phase from V1 to V2. And I think the smart move now is to use new Skelicam to record the videos, or just new Skelicam to record the videos, and then V1 FreeMoCap to process them. You could also just do the things that people have been doing of just like recording on your own and then synchronizing with some video editing software and then loading that in. That's literally the same as this. But yeah, I think that's. I made a post recently, like me like walking and dancing on a treadmill, and that used that sort of two-step method of basically just like recording new SkellyCam into the recording folder of old FreeMoCap and then processing like that. God damn it, this cat, go over there. There you go. Where were we? Yes, we were. Yeah. So in this stream, I think in addition to just you know the general vibe that I believe of like I think just in the more I stream the better. I think that is true. And I don't stream very much, but I'm trying to increase that base rate. Um and specifically I think like it's better for me, I think it is better for me to stream raw dev puke like I'm doing now than it is to make a bunch of like polished tutorials and introductions and information about Skelicam, because like this I think is a better way to transition towards FreeMoCap core improvements. Da 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 da. What am I believing? Sorry, never shut the hell up. Okay. Blah blah blah. Where are we? So let us take a moment then to sort of see where I left FreeMoCap proper. Um, because basically, as people who've been around for a while will know, the development cycle, in my experience, kind of it's like I work on FreeMoCap core for a while, then I go work for a sub Skelly, usually SkellyCam, but sometimes Skelly Tracker et al. And then kind of go back to the core. So the development recently was that I, hard targeted real time processing on core FreeMoCap, in service with the target of having it in time for the SFN conference, which happened in November. We got there, got it working, kind of like slapdash, sort of smoking, sliding in sideways type of thing. But we got there. Um, and then we got back and sort of like, okay, let me take a step back. And I wound up going back into SkellyCam and doing a lot of cleanup there. And now that I have done that cleanup, I believe it's time to go back to FreeMoCap proper. So let's see. Can I leave these both running at the same time? I think I might need to. I think I'll need to kill the back end. Do I need to? Oh, I know. I think it will kill the back end because I think they're on the same port, which is a little stupid, but it's actually not the worst thing in the world. But let's just do this. So here we are, FreeMoCap. Let's rerun the front end. So new architecture, Electron front end, Python back end with bundled with PyInstaller. So here we are in FreeMoCap. Same basic structure. FreeMoCap core is the back end code. -UI is the front end code. If I go into here and in the package, and then just run the dev mode, aka npm run dev, and we should see a new guy pop up, which will look quite similar to this guy. So this is FreeMoCap, this is SkellyCam. They look very similar for very good reason because they're basically clones of one another. And the idea is that SkellyCam is a necessarily simpler case of FreeMoCap, where SkellyCam's only job is to do multi-camera streaming and recording and stuff like that. And FreeMoCap's job is to do that in addition to processing the streams as they come in, either in a real-time processing stream or in a post-hoc processing stream, meaning basically like processing recorded videos. And then both have been very carefully controlled so that the real-time processing will not interfere with the real full-time recording. So you can stream and process in real time while still recording full frame rate, and front end will intelligently lag, automatically lag. It'll drop. Front end will just drop frame rate, and back end will always stay uh, clean and clear, basically like this. So orange is the server frame rate, and the blue is the front end frame rate. So how it should be. So now I got to turn off these cameras because I think if I tried to start it, yeah. So let's actually just find that out. So here we go. So we got, can I do this? Yeah, and then your Skelicam, and then, wait, no, we don't, wait, how does that work? Oh, no, okay. I don't know how that works. And so you go, oh, wrong. You go here. Oh, over here, go there. Over here, go there. Great. And so you see me moving up there. I'm pretty sure that when I run the backend code for FreeMoCap, it will kill the backend server for SkellyCam because it'll detect that it's on the same port and then send the shutdown signal, which is what we want to protect the cameras. And so SkellyCam will probably freeze, the image will freeze on the last one it gets through. Oh, oh no. Oh, it incremented? Wait, incrementing? I don't know about that. I guess it's set to increment right now. What does that do? Will that? I'm very okay. Oh, it sees me. Actually, I think I can probably close. I think if I hit this, these will close. Yeah, there you go. So I don't. The whole thing of like, should the new process kill the old one or just increment the port is sort of a design question. I thought that it was gonna kill it, but I guess it is more flexible than I intended to. But whatever. Um, it's a bit of a degenerate case. I think they should probably kill it. I don't think they should increment because I think with the way cameras work, it won't. You can't have two of them running or it'll get screwy. Um, but yeah, so let's continue with this. So now we have these cameras. Oh, right. What is it? So this camera is currently being read by OBS, and it is, I discovered the other day, because that's camera one. It's not it ideally it would sort of notice that this camera is in use and then either tag it as unavailable or just not return it as an available camera. Um, but it's not doing that, and that's okay, which we'll figure out later. So the sort of dumb workaround move is to just disable camera one and then connect over. So you'll notice a couple things. Like one is that the UI looks like a little different because I did make changes here. These ones have kind of this nice like reordering method, which I think we're gonna want. What are you doing? Get out of here. Can I stop this? And I can disconnect that. All right, I'm gonna stop trying to finesse it. What's that? My mental model is shattered. SkellyCam, please go to sleep. Thank you. Bye. 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 And now you can connect. So yeah. Oh wait, did you die? Oh, God. Can you connect? Doesn't that happen automatically? See, like this is super basic, but this is much more sophisticated. So it's like I want to pull that back over. Um, I could pull like the stuff I did for the SkellyCam UI because so much of it is going to be reused for FreeMoCap. you might think it would make sense to sort of pull that UI code into its own kind of like utility repo on like npm or something like that. Um, and that is what I did for the docs. I pulled the docs, like the docs now live in a utility repo that kind of uh, can be used over again. So I can use the same basic doc scaffolding in different parts of the code or the whatever. Like I want to have like all of the sub skellies need their own documentation. Like the core FreeMoCap core, SkellyCam, Skelly Tracker, Skelly Forge, all of the Blender add-on, they all need their own docs, and ideally they would be kind of like in some sort of unified form. So I made this docs scaffolding thing. Why does it say DocuSource? It should say Skelly Docs. I thought I changed that. Isn't it cute? Oh, I know why. But and so it works and it's on npm and you can scaffold through your own documentation or whatever, and it's cool, but it means that it makes updating stuff annoying because you can't update it in place. You have to update the scaffolder and then rescaffold the whole thing. It's annoying. And so I we will see if SkellyDocs pulls its weight. Basically, when I try to recreate it in FreeMoCap and then in the other spaces, it may or may not. I'm not sure. Thank you. Hey, Macon. Welcome back. Yeah, it's a Docusaurus. It's a new. Oh yeah. The website has also gotten some updates. FreeMoCap.org. But then also yeah, I was just talking about the Skelly. Is that Cam? Yes. This is Docusaurus for the docs, and that is also new. um. What? Ha. Yeah. Also, this is raw HTML, like old school style. Anyways, it is better documentation, and this is the old documentation, which will eventually be updated. This is using writer side or something like that, which writer side, it's good for what it is, but it's also kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I am sure I don't want to keep using it. It's mostly just kind of like but you have to bake into like an ecosystem that I'm not a huge fan of. Whereas Docusaurus is kind of like Markdown plus React, which I am into. Anyway, where was I? I was yeah. So the scaffold, like building a scaffolding, like sort of a shared place for the documentation building code. We'll see if if the juice there is worth the squeeze. In the case of the user interface from SkellyCam to FreeMoCap, I think I'm going to skip it for now and just do like sloppy copy over, just like and then update, which I've done in the past. It is annoying, but it's not that annoying. It doesn't take that much time. Because like it is using the same basic stuff. So okay, so do we have we don't so okay, so FreeMoCap currently has no backend running. I mean, it does have a backend running, but it's not like what am I pushing here? I'm not. Oh, this is Skelly Tracker. God, this thing's complicated. FreeMoCap proper. Oh, you think you're connected? Oh, but it's on the wrong port because we had the port counting thing. Yes. Which I probably could have changed. Oh, but right, the Skelicam. The Skelicam server, you can set the port. The FreeMoCap one, you cannot because I haven't updated that. But the dumb version works. It is connected now, and I have unchecked the box for this camera, which is there's no way to know the ID without checking, and so there's a bit of a like a bit of a two-step around like which one you connect to first and whatnot, and I can like like I have to like disable the OBS one so I can connect to it. It's annoying. This and this should do the same thing. I can't remember if this one also connects to real-time pipeline. Anyway, so this should work. Is it? Did it? Detect? Yep, we're good. And Checked? Yeah, okay. This is an interesting case for me because it's like uh I've been in Skelicam for so long that I forget that I fixed bugs that are still present in versions of the code that look very similar. Um, but yeah, so yeah, so now here we are in FreeMoCap. You will notice it looks very very similar to Skelicam in many ways, except now we have this fun little place over here, which doesn't. I don't. Why am I getting that here? Oh, that's. Oh, because things are selected. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so there's that. Mycon. Mycon's asking about yeah, like golf swings and tennis clubs and sports analysis. Um, oh yeah, for Skelicam itself, just like the synchronized video. Yeah, I definitely exploring it. It's like we're talking to people that do. There's a lot of people on the server doing various things. And then we kind of have like sort of sidebar conversations with some like more clinical researchers. The main, I think, work in that space is my PhD student Aaron Cherian, who has been literally writing a whole dissertation on like validation around FreeMoCap for things like clinical and sports biomechanics. He is theoretically submitting his dissertation document today for to be defended in 2 weeks. So that is like in that the question of like, are you working on like I consider that validation step to be kind of like the baseline necessity before at least I would be willing to like spend the time doing the analysis itself. Um, because it's like I would rather validate. I mean, it's actually it is being validated in the context of gait and posture control studies, um, which will then be the basis of golf club stuff and tennis swings and you know like things like golf, tennis, baseball, like anything that involves like standing in one place and doing a really complicated move. Um, that's us. We can cover larger areas and stuff like that, but it's harder, and that's just been less of the focus. Even though we will get there, and we have evidence that works. But second, oh, speak of the devil. I just got a message from Aaron sent literally 2 minutes ago saying that he has sent off the draft of his dissertation, presumably to me as well as his committee members. So, woo! Congratulations, Aaron, on that. He will be defending his dissertation on, I think, the 13th. It will be recorded. It may be streamed, maybe not. I probably we'll see about that. Like if there's a way to do it with zero mental cost to me or Aaron, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll just record it and then post it later. um, but I don't know. I think the department actually handles some of the technicals, so it may be the kind of thing that there's some link that can be shared, like a Zoom link or something. Uh, but we'll see. No, one way or the other, his dissertation is the validation that we want, and it will be publicly available and cleaned up, and it's the basis of the publication of the his dissertation will be the basis of somewhere between like 1 to 3 publications, and it'll also just be online and part of the docs and stuff like that. Uh, multiple people is its own challenge. I'll just say we're working on it. It's in the roadmap. Work has kind of started on it. It's just like there's a lot of challenges there. And I'd say multi-person is on that space of like things that we've been working on and are kind of like, in my mind, the architectural improvements that are happening with V2 are kind of in service of those complexities around like the retargeting multi-person. Uh, Andres has been doing a lot of stuff with like tracking secondary objects, like balls and chairs and props and stuff like that, like golf clubs. Which again, like the technicals are getting there, like the back end computational stuff is getting there. The challenge is like how do you put it in the UI? Like how do we make this something that's not where the instructions are not go clone this repo and build this thing and like run the scripts from scratch type of thing. And then the secondary challenge is like, how do we do it in a way that everybody gets to benefit? So like while we are doing the hard work of putting it into the sort of the button clicky GUI, if you are somebody that's like, oh, and actually I don't mind cloning and running Python code from GitHub, because oh yeah, cool, well then go clone this thing and run that thing, and then you can use it before it's in the UI. Face tracking, he also been doing some face tracking stuff. uh yeah. um Works in progress. It's challenging because like you want to be adding, it's like the tension of like adding more functionality and more complexity to the system while also keeping the base level architecture stable and solid enough that it doesn't, you don't get feature bloat, you don't get, sort of that type of stuff. And then keeping, like the sort of the mission, moral, ethical core of universal design of like, keeping in like I don't want this to get out of reach of like students and people who don't have technical backgrounds, and so kind of like, yeah. Yeah, you get it. You get it. The more I work in this space, the more I think that like these tensions, like the inherent tensions, yeah, see, like this is ugly, um are like those are the things that make the project good. Like the tension of trying to make something that an eighth grader can use while also being the tool of professional animators and researchers. Like those things are in conflict with each other. And so, and because they are in conflict of each other, it pulls you in a direction where you can kind of like, it keeps you from falling too far in either direction. Um, so like, similarly, it's like trying to build this like scientifically accurate, empirically grounded research tool that is also this like animation and game design sort of asset creator. Like those are also things that are somewhat in tension with each other. And like the animation side, there's things you can do to make stuff work, that would not be cool in a scientific context. Like they're, not truth preserving operations. But at the same time, sometimes those like, perhaps non-truth preserving cleanup steps are useful in ways that could be useful for researchers. So like I'm thinking right now about like, face tracking is one of those. It's hard to establish anything resembling a ground truth for face tracking, but I know researchers who care about faces, so it's like that's a good thing to have included. Face tracking is also kind of in a strangely similar place to eye tracking, which is like a core research interest of mine. That's like one of my core expertises, as you might say. Shout out Mary Hayho. Um, and So it's like those are connected there. And then another one is like foot locking. Like that's another, like, because the feet are always kind of like wiggling around on the ground, and so there's stuff you can do basically like let's lock it in place, and then that gives you some more some cleanliness there, which again, like you're removing yourself from that empirical grounded computations, but there are applications, like foot placement stuff, which obviously I'm also into. um Obviously, if you know my research background, that I like if I was doing a research study about foot placement, I would absolutely want to turn on the foot tracking stuff if and only if it was presented and documented and described in a way that I could sort of understand. Like I could write it into a methods section, which is, again, so there's this, you sort of sit at the center of all these axes that you sort of chosen to care about yourself. It's like a tensegrity type of thing if you're into that. Okay. So we have, okay, did I set this here? So we got that. Recommend punch it. No. It's just a little helper thing of yeah, see, it's again like a bug. So the Skelicam, it turns it off and moves it back to manual and sort of moves this where it should be. But the recommend thing just it looks at it runs through all the exposure settings and then picks the one that's closest to median luminance, -1. Whatever. Where am I? Who are you? Okay, so okay, so we got the cameras moving. Let's see. Let's try to build this out into the high water mark. High water mark. So camera one, so which is a janky. So the high water mark of FreeMoCap 2.0 pre-alpha is what we're going to call that one, I guess, is janky real-time processing, kind of not existent. Like you can't really do, I guess, you can't really do post-hoc processing with this UI yet. No, I think you can't. I think we never got that part working. But you can calibrate and you can get a real-time processing thing working. So let's do that right now. So cameras, real-time pipeline. So architecturally, the two main sort of back-end objects of note are the camera group object, which handles the multi-camera connection streaming, recording, controlling, whatever. And then the real-time pipeline, which is sort of a structurally similar combination of camera node processing with an aggregation node thing. This is an example of like the kind of UI that we will be able to have. It's a little ugly and busted, and like you can see, it's like blue on blue is just like a theme CSS problem, which again kind of fixed in Skelicam, but not really. And a lot of these what was I saying? I don't think all the pieces are connected here. Like again, there was a fair amount of relatively cross-eyed vibe coding that went into this, and I did not check my work. So let's see here. So I'm going to turn it. So I turn on the pipeline, which creates the pipeline object. What do we crash? We crash or move your phone from the mic. Yes. My phone? I don't think my phone is doing anything. You mean my speakers? We're freaking out. Oh, it might be freaking out because we're now streaming here. Yeah. Let's see. Real time. Are we completely? I think we're blocked. Okay, let's turn off who doesn't need to be around. Goodbye. Camera 4 has no exact. Oh. I know why. Shut that down. It was using the calibration object it had online, which was not a match for the camera, so that was why it failed. So we can fix that by, see, so this is FreeMoCap, turn that off. I'll restart. Yeah, known bug or known slop spot. Like the reason why it failed was sort of just like because of some sloppiness in how we handle the like looking for the calibration data. I think a lot of this, like, alpha, pre-alpha, let's call it, in the pre-alpha stage of this process, of the development process, you kind of like, oftentimes I'm just targeting like, if everything goes right, can I make it work? That's kind of the vibe there. So like there are these kind of like broken states of like, oh, if you're connected to cameras 0, 1, 2, 4, and the calibration that you have is looking for cameras 0, 1, 2, 3, are you going to handle that properly, or are you just going to like freak out? And in the current state, the case is you're going to freak out. And that's kind of fine because I can fix that. We connected. And then, adding the robustness and stuff like that can kind of come later. Again, I'm not sure if that's like the best move, but it is the move that we're doing. So, yes, that robustness layer is the challenge often. Okay, we're blinking, we're coming in. Oh shoot, but it's also, we got to do that. Okay. Freaking out. Here's SkellyCam. Where are you? FreeMoCap. Yeah. See, this is what happens if you try to connect to a camera that is currently in use. Again, it's like we should handle that better at a variety of levels. We should handle that better. But for now, the solution is don't do that. And if you do that, restart and try again. Okay. So now we're back here. We have unchecked camera 1 from the options, and then we punch it. We apply those settings, and everybody's happy. Everybody's good to go. We're blinking green. Come on, buddy. And yeah, there we go. So this is now a this is very similar to what Skelicam was with a less advanced GUI. So I can't change, the layout. I can't do the drag and drop thing. Some of this part is a little bit busted. But images are coming through. And actually, for the processing stuff, the images coming through to the front end are not a part of the process. So on the back end, the server is connected to the cameras, reading frames, synchronizing at runtime, and then saving it. And then if I push record, it will save to disk. So, oh, right. And then I will go. Yeah. So there's these so the thought is that there will be these kind of like sections of config that you can kind of add and remove. And part of the reason why I'm thinking about it more of this kind of like the drag and drop ability of it is that will be something that you could add to this, right? You could add a new section for something like, if you wanted to have face motion capture, if you wanted to have a section to control the Blender output and make some custom retargeting, build your own model type of stuff, you could add those there, and it would also allow for sort of community plugins, which I think is another really useful thing that I think of for the future. Mentioned it in public many times, not that many. And the idea would be that as a way to get around that tension of wanting to be able to add the new features and new complexity and sort of like make it available without like without putting too much of a burden on the core development. Community plugins is I think a great and classical workaround for that, because you can make you make a template, you make some instructions, say here's how you make a plugin, here's our basic API, have at it, and then we have a way then we can have a way to add the plugins. Then we just put a disclaimer on there saying, hey, we didn't make this, we don't support it. If you have problems, talk to the developers, don't talk to us. And so that way, Andres's like face tracking stuff or like object detection stuff can sort of live as a community plugin for as long as it needs to, until the core sort of like stamp of approval can make it through. It also makes it possible to put stuff out into the world and get kind of like battle tested, again, without having to interfere with the core development. So at that point, the task becomes higher on us to document our API and our methods and all that stuff, so that people can interface with us in a meaningful way. And that is exactly that's the work that feels like the work like that I should be doing, that we should be doing. Like, I should not be spending my time building a face tracker, even though that sounds fun. I should be spending my time making sure that the core architecture is clean enough, and that the documentation is sufficient to allow people to build their own applications, and then kind of like handle the glue, defining protocols and stuff. Incidentally, this technical stuff is the stuff that the bot is really, really good at developing. So like having like cron jobs and stuff like that say, hey, go look at the actual implementations in the code, at the routers, at the endpoints and the models and all that stuff, and make sure that the docs are consistent with the actual code. And every day at midnight, just go through and check that none of the new no new pushes have sort of broken our connection to the docs. That kind of stuff the AI is really, really good at, especially like properly maintained. What it's less good at is like describing the core concepts in a way that's like, like that matches my vibe, like it's the vibe that it can't quite hit. Like it can't not talk about this with a little bit of corpo speak. It simply cannot do that. And so I can try to like twist its arm into getting the vibes right, which honestly I have been doing, and it's fun and whatnot. I have hours upon hours of me talking about it online, that I can use as kind of a baseline for that. Um, but sort of a like the core philosophy versus the technical whatever is like it's a free software, right? So trying to figure out how to handle it. Which AI am I using? Mostly Claude these days, mostly Anthropic. Um, and Claude Opus 4.6 is just an incredible machine that does really good work. Uh, and I mentioned, I remember it may have been before you showed up, but like I feel like I'm a little bit addicted to it because it's really really good, but it's also like I have the $20 a month subscription, which I think is good bang for its buck, but I burn through those tokens real fast because I am addicted to the big model. And this the second layer one, the Sonnet one, is like not nearly as good. But I think that for some of the stuff like the cron jobs and like check if the docs are accurate, stuff like that. I think those don't have to be Claude. I also strongly suspect that the goodness of Claude Opus has to do with like how well it's trained within the user interface that Anthropic has built. Um, and you know, yeah, the Mike, believe me, I have done that. It's not it's not that good. It's not that good. It cannot catch the vibe exactly right. It will always be a little bit off. I've used this in a lot of contexts, and that's okay. Like if I give it 10 hours of transcripts of me, talking on video, it does better. But it's not me. It's a different guy, and it's trained. It's trained on corpo speak, and it can't not do that. Um, but and so I think that's totally okay, as long as we kind of just like accept that it's not the same thing. Um, so that's why I'm kind of like I'm leaning towards a world where I use AI as I use AI. I mean, I've got a fucking PhD in cognitive science. I'm in this shit. Um, and I think especially in the open source world, it's like like are these docs perfect? No, but they exist. Uh, and if it wasn't for the AI, like maybe it wouldn't. And so I think the important part is like tag it as AI, tag it as a work in progress, work on those core like personality prompts and system prompts and like soul docs as a term I kind of like of like giving it enough of a back end like repository of instructions about its personality, its vibe, the underlying philosophy and ethics of the project and stuff like that, derived from the many hours of me talking about it online. And then like try to work on that sort of the automated generation step and making that as good as we can. But again, also just recognizing like it's a simulation of what it would be like if I were to sit down and write it all by hand. This is kind of the approach that I developed when I was doing like using Skellybot in my classes and stuff like that. It's like I was designing that was a much simpler world. And kind of like adding the personality prompts and whatnot to twist its arm. In that case, it was to twist its arm into not being like super teacher student about everything and not trying to get the students to like think about the exam and shit. And I was like, we don't do that here. But the way I was thinking about it was like the bot was supposed to be a simulation for what it would be like if I was able to sit down and have a conversation with, you know, all 40 students in my class for hours a week, which I cannot. But I can, the human, can create the simulation of what it would be like to be with me, and I can kind of do my best to keep the corpo out. And then a lot of the teaching is kind of like, hey, did you notice how that's kind of stupid? Have you noticed that its vibes are off? Have you noticed that you can trick it and lie to it about things? Like, did you notice that it gets things wrong sometimes? Like, that's just part of the conversation. And so it's less. I think what I don't like is people try to use AI as a replacement because it's just not good for that. I mean, it can be depending on the context, but I think as an augmentation, an honest augmentation, saying like, "Hey, I'm tired and I'm using this to be able to make progress with limited resources," And yes, it's not perfect, but that's part of the discussion. That's part of the beauty of the actual human connection. Um, and let's just sit with it together. I think that's kind of a good vibe. Because yeah, like this kind of process diagram here. Um, like I'm not gonna make this like I should, but you know, it does a decent job. It's like this stuff. It's like yeah, that's ugly, but it's fine. I've gotten like this box should be inside of that box. It's fine. Um, you know. Right. Anyways, as we were saying, uh, yes, just spoken like a real person. I am a real person sometimes. Let's see. What am I doing? I'm gonna do calibration. Yeah. Give me more light. Always need more light. Yeah. Ugh. Okay, so again, trying to remind myself of the process here. So we don't want to turn on the real-time processing pipeline because if we do, it will it'll fail because it doesn't have the right calibration. So we want to recreate the calibration and then turn on the real-time processing pipeline. I also want to change this because I am currently in I think this is a deep cut, but the third act of Jonathan Livingston Seagull is the current camera setting. uh If anybody gets that, I'll be shocked, but that's okay. Figure video. There we go. Auto. So still a little washed out, but that's okay. And over here, similarly, um, capture that, and bonk, bonk. Okay, good enough for us. Cloud uses the phrase. Yeah. Oh, does it? Just sit with it. That's funny. Um, yeah, I think it's like the people who use AI a lot. You start to recognize like I watch a lot of TikTok more than I should probably, and you start to be able to tell like who uses AI to for their scripts. Even the people talking, it's like that's not blank, that's not X, it's Y. It's like oh yeah, I got that from the AI. um, it doesn't bother me so much, but it's kind of like I know what you're doing, I see what you're doing, and you should scrub that part. Um, uh, Okay, let's see. So calibration. So live track. This doesn't do anything. I know that. Calibration. Start. Okay, yeah. So how this will work. Are we setting? We've got the setting. We're not aligned to ground plane. Doing the 5x3. Um, and we're gonna. And cameras are. I can't move the cameras once I do that. So. Oh, fine. Okay. Start calibration, and then I do good old fashioned Truco dance to avoid the glare and I guess the microphone blocking too, which I can move the microphone. And stop recording. Like 0% means in this context, but okay. And I don't think enough of this comes through, so. Oh, yeah, see, so it's doing, yeah, video node, post hoc aggregation node. Did it work? Are we happy? I think these things don't update quickly. Manage process. Wait, where are we? Oh, right. And then this is still using like, yeah, OG anti-pose. So it just prints. It doesn't have the log go through. I actually did make, oh, God damn it. Cannot reshape of size. 8? Why are you seeing 8 of something? Oh, I do know why. That's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 8 of those. Okay, usually something like that would be from. What would that be from? Oh, is it? Mm, any pose, square length. I'm confused by that. Like, nothing's changed. Famous last words, or not last words, famous continuously repeated incorrect statements. Um, something is being stupid. And I don't know why. Now I'm not going to be able to debug it on the stream. But I might be able to shove it through and using various ways and means. I have a suspicion. Okay, let's see. So 486 times 8 is 388. So, okay. Or, looking at this. It's somewhat right problem there, but I'm not. Four cameras is correct. 486 points, I guess, is correct. 8 points is correct. 2 is correct. Where does 776 come from? Is the question. Let's see here. So 486 times 8 times 2 is 776. That should be correct. So 486 times 8 times 2 is that. So it's only getting it's only getting X or Y. This is confusing because I was pretty sure nothing has changed there. Can I? Oh, I could do that. All right, I guess let's do it like that. So, okay, so what we're gonna do? Oh, how do we do that? Okay. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be stupid and just like try it again. When in doubt, let's just try it again and hope for the best. I don't know if that will work. Oh, I could. Let's do that. So let's um FreeMoCap data. So V1 was recording sessions, which was always a bad idea, and V2 is now recording, which is better. 330, that's us, and now we are here. Oh, I think we were successful. Like task failed successfully. I think the failure happened after it completed successfully, which that honestly makes sense to me. Okay, so theoretically, now that we are calibrated, we should be able to turn on the real-time pipeline and see some kind of real-time processing. So this is another UI problem. This is like a case where like this thing not looking right. I'm gonna get help with that. I ain't cleaning that up. Someone else is gonna clean that up. I'm gonna ask the community. Okay, so I should be able. Yeah, I don't even know if any of these things. Yeah, I don't know if any of this shit is accurate, but I think there are sensible defaults. I don't know if they are correct. But I'm gonna try. So what was I gonna do? Oh yeah, just I also don't know that I trust the logs to be. Oh yeah, there we go. Um, we'll turn on that, and then we check the proper logs. Like there's a thing that tries to port all the logs to the UI, but importantly, that only works if the server is running. So there's a little bit of a oh God, you're still there. Fuck. Why are you doing that? Yeah. I think I'm stupid. I think I'm stupid. And I think that the version that exists is still stupid enough that it cannot handle 0124 because a lot of the anypos, bless its heart as a project, and thank you Lily for making it. We've relied on it for some time, but it's kind of busted academic code, and one of the many ways it is busted is that it like list oh god list order based, like ID by list order is everywhere in this fucking thing, so it just can't handle like complexity around camera names. So I'm willing to blame that. So there is a solution to that, and it is stupid, which is don't do that. Okay, so we turn that on. Um, I wonder if we're still. I'm remembering now. One of the things that sent me back to Skelicam was zombie processes. We were having zombie process problems, um, and like things like not dying properly. And I think I fixed that, and I think that um, those errors, well, we don't appear to be having a bunch of zombie processes. So, okay, so the stupid solution of the camera ID problem. Oh, fuck, it's camera one? All right. I was gonna say, I thought it was camera three off the top of my head. So, um, oh, which confirms that that's the problem because it's running off the end of its own list. So I will say goodbye to this one. So goodbye OBS camera. Did you turn off? You did not turn off. Deactivate. Okay, can I do that? No? Mm. Uh, this is one of those things where it's like the camera. Oh, I guess I know how to do that. I'm just gonna unplug and replug the camera because this is the case where uh, OBS is not killing the camera process. So it stayed connected even though I told it to shut down. I could be an OBS problem for all I know. And now I will recheck it here. I could turn off that one, but we'll just stay with 5. It's fine. Connect to those cameras. And theoretically, in a moment, we shall be 5 cameras. Which now that we're not using that, we can blow this up back and show me myself. Come on, buddy. We still thinking? Come on, buddy. I might have to restart the server here too. Refresh the page. Something. Blah. Okay. Turn everybody off. Shut down the camera. Now I am gonna do just to see task kill /f/m python.exe. Okay. There. I don't know if that was a zombie. I think that might have just been the thing, but there are now definitely no zombies because we killed them all. And now we are restarting the back end. We're back here in the FreeMoCaps, and we got all 5 of the cameras, and we're going to connect to the cameras. And now, hopefully, we won't be stepping on ourselves. They are flashing green as they should be. And soon, and for the rest of our lives, we shall see myself. Hey, what's up? There I am. This grid is better than the other grid. So we did backslide there a bit. Anyways, and we're still too bright over here. Anyways. Welcome back. Welcome back to being able to see me. Camera 1 wants to rotate by, I think it was 90. Camera 3, we're going to bump you down in exposure, although I don't trust that it actually, because of the recommend. Oh, we're not going to see that, are we? Oh, we do. Okay, camera, what is that? Camera 3? Camera 3 is exposure 7. That's not accurate. Anyways, call it good. Here we go. Bump. There we go. Yeah, good enough. Or maybe we can put this down to 8. Oh, wrong one. Camera 3. No, that wasn't the wrong one. Oh, no, it was. Boink. You should probably be... Actually, you can be recommended. You should not be recommended. You can go here. It's going to take a while because it's got to go through the recommendation cycle. Great. Okay, now we are going to attempt to calibrate again on the assumption that the error was the problem being that we were missing like the index. There was a gap in the indices and that any pose is stupid and can't handle it. Bless its heart. Okay, calibration. Recording. We're theoretically, yep, there we go. Hello. Do the classic Truco dance, avoiding glare and occlusive microphones. And that should be good enough. It'll be nice when we have the live tracking Truco board. It has existed before, but okay. Stop. Oh, I wonder if it's gonna fail again. It might. Camera default, yeah. That's I'm not sure when you're referring to, but I think I know. And now we're trying to process. We see if it fails again. We didn't fail again. Did we fail again? Okay. And now we have to... I don't think this automatically updates itself because it is dumb. But, and also... Can I refresh? I think I can refresh the page without losing anything. Famous last words. Welcome back. Calibration, give me some green dots. No green dots. But I also think if I select, okay, recordings, this is the most recent one. Should be some, yeah, okay. Oh, did we crash? Why did we crash? Ah. Pipeline died, exit code. Yep, same problem. Same problem. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Post hoc application pipeline. Something stupid. Wait, but we also think that that may not have been the problem. Let's find out. And let's do this. So you turn on the real-time pipeline when the cameras are not connected, you get an error. Okay, what was the error? Oh, I think it's dead. That's a reasonable error. Again, so we're restarting the backend server. We are awake. We try to start the real-time pipeline, which will turn on the cameras with the current settings, and then turn on create the processing graph to generate them. The cameras are connecting. Oh yeah, it's like, yeah. Ole. Yeah, that's another thing. Like the Skelicam logs should auto. Okay. Hello, that's me. Aha. Okay. Technically successful. Are we? 5 FPS. That's us. Oh, and number. Who are you? Number 1 must be rotated. There we are. What's up? Do I have this F? Hey, what's up? That's me. Uh, so, um, woo! We're number one and two. We can count our things. Thank you. Um, so it's a little busted. It's slow. It's all on CPU. Is I think at this point probably the main issue. It's a C. This is fully running on CPU, which the fact that it's running five concurrent processing streams and then triangulating it and streaming it in real time from USB webcams with a free software, I think is pretty cool. I think that there probably are places where we could improve the processing at the CPU level, like the CPU based processing. I think we could probably get. I suspect we could probably get up to like 10 FPS. Um, but at a certain point, it's just too many numbers for a CPU, uh, and like we should just be using GPU based stuff, which is roughly I think where I am. Like that's yeah, and I think if we're running on a GPU, I think we were talking full like 30 FPS. I think 30 FPS real time processing. Um, I think is on the table. Uh, we also should be driving like the proper skelly mesh, like like rigged armature type of stuff. This is a very simple, I think, useful but simple representation, just like the dots and sticks, connect the dots sort of stuff. Um, and I think where I am in terms of FreeMoCap development, like the things that I should be working on in FreeMoCap right now, is basically to just go through FreeMoCap proper, FreeMoCap core, pull in the UI improvements and fixes from SkellyCam, including stuff like the performance metrics and the front end back end rate, which are I think going to get really like we need those in this context. Um, and yeah, and then I guess there's some question marks there about where to go next. One would be so there's kind of the two main sections of FreeMoCap uh, 2.0, like the real time processing pipelines and the post hoc processing pipelines, where real time is this, like, in real time, then post hoc is like processing videos. And the idea, again, as I've said before, and we'll say again, is that there's been a lot of care taken in to ensure that the real time processing should not step on the toes of the recording capacities. So there isn't even a record videos button here. But if there was, the idea would be that I could click that and record all five of these videos at their existing frame, full 30 FPS, zero dropped frames, um, with the exact same fidelity as we would do if we weren't doing real time processing. Then the real time processor can kind of just like it goes as fast as it can, like as fast as your computer can keep up with. Um, and so within that space, there's two methods of processing. One is uh, basically you're drinking from the fire hose in real time. So the Skelicam sends you these sort of multi-frame, like Skelicam produces these synchronized multi-frame blobs, and says like for frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here are the five images from the five cameras for the given time slice. And then the processing pipeline is kind of like receiving those in the ways that it does. It's actually not receiving them, it's pulling them out of a shared memory store, but that's a whole other conversation. um, and then constructing in real time as good as it can get. And for that, like the speed accuracy knob kind of wants to be turned towards speed. You might use like a lighter weight model than you would have available, that's like lower accuracy but it runs faster. um, 1 euro filter is good for real-time filtering. Fabric solver, there's some stuff that like maybe you want to use, that you wouldn't maybe want to use for like your most empirically grounded pipelines, but it's like it's good for the real-time processing stuff. um, so that's one set of headaches. And then the other set of headaches is for the post hoc processing pipeline, which the post hoc processing pipeline, post hoc means kind of like after the fact, um, is basically what is represented in FreeMoCap 1.0. And as I am saying this, I know what the correct answer is, but I'm going to keep talking as if it's still a question mark. Because in addition to the possibility of honing the real-time pipeline, which is obviously the most exciting part, the other option is to actually integrate the ability to do the standard FreeMoCap v1 processing pipeline, which is calibrate, record, process. Calibrate the capture volume with the Chirutko board or whatever. Eventually, we will have a non-Chirutko based calibration method, but for now, we don't. Calibrate it, record the videos, just raw images to disk. And then once you're done with the recording, do the reconstruction, like record and reconstruct. And that's how current FreeMoCap works. Like you give it video, like you either record the videos or you give it videos that are presumed to be synchronized, and then you do the processing there. And then when you do that sort of post hoc processing, there's a lot of new techniques become available, because there's something like a Butterworth filter requires you to have the full data set already in your hand. Like you can't do that with a system where you're getting the frames one by one. Like you have to have the full data set available. Things like, estimating the joint, the segment lengths by looking at the median distances between shoulder and elbow, like that kind of, you need the full pipeline. Like, again, you can think of real-time versions of these things, but ultimately they're different beasts. And as much as my heart is wants to work on I don't even know if that's true, but as much as it would be fun to sort of work on the real-time stuff, the smart move, especially if I'm targeting some kind of release within a week, is to focus on the quick win, which is to recreate FreeMoCap 1.0. Micon knows what's up. And recreate the 1.0 capacities in the 2.0 architecture, which is honestly, like, I won't say it'll be easy, but it won't be as hard as it's because the back end pipeline for FreeMoCap 1.0 is the most advanced thing. Like that is the best system we have for processing videos. So pulling it into the V2 will require some changes, but ultimately it's a relatively quick swap over. And then in that quick swap over, I will have like uncrossed my eyes because I know that pipeline, as opposed to like asking a robot to build it for me. And so by implementing that, I can do the more slow, careful work that is really needed right now. And then in the context of that, I can go back to the real time thing. And I agree with you, Micon, that like secretly, I don't know, I'm of multiple minds, right? The careful, mature scientist of me is like you're absolutely right. The full firepower post hoc reconstruction that leads to like really solid, really robust, like empirically grounded, like as accurate as you can get, data representing empirical facts of the past. That's really where the magic is. I think that the real-time stuff, I'm excited for the real-time stuff for different reasons. One is it's harder. So this is like the part of my mind that's just like is always attracted to the harder problems. So working with more constraints is a harder task. And up until this point, it has informed the design, like all of the a lot of the complexity of Skelicam was based off of that ability to sort of separate between the real-time post hoc thing. And again, one of those tensions of what was I saying, of like how do you make something that can process in real time without stepping on the toes of the ability to record at full fidelity. And that that tension was the big part of the design. I think that the reason, and you and other people I think have said, hey, I don't know if it's worth it. Like I don't know if real time is really that useful, and so I don't know if it's worth all the effort you've been putting into it. And some arguments there, I think, but the main thing that real time is for is feedback. Even if you only care about the fidelity of the post hoc pipeline, which arguably I am that person, um, you know, people who care about real time, like VR people, VTuber people, like perceptual motor, like researchers may want it because you can do like experiments in real time and sort of interactive, blah blah blah. But ultimately, like if you're the kind of person who believes who's like I post hoc is fine. I just want the highest fidelity possible. The biggest determinant of the success of the recording and the success of the reconstruction is how well was it set up. How well did you, the user, the recorder, the researcher, whoever you want to call it, how good of a job did they do setting up the cameras, setting up the settings, getting the lighting right in order to get things working? And for that, the ability to get, real time feedback of how things are doing is so critical. And I think it's critical in a way that a lot of people, like, they're not going to get it until they're doing it. Like I remember like Philip with like at SFN, Philip was kind of like, like when the real time thing popped up, and he was sort of like they're like Philip and Aaron were like, you're doing some kind of like debugging thing to get the cameras pointed right, and they were able to say like, oh, actually, hold on, let me move it a little. It's not detecting here. Let me move it over here, and now it is detecting. Oh, this one's too dark. It's not picking things up. It's like, oh, like this camera. I'm pointing at a screen, but oh, like it's detecting like legs here, or like it starts eventually it'll, yeah, like picking up ghost skeletons in the periphery. Like the ability to see that in real time is going to change the game dramatically, both in terms of the high level users, as well as like the marketing for the people who are just trying to walk into the like who are just showing up. um like in a demo situation at a conference or whatever, like for setting up a booth, setting up a real-time station, it's just it's a wildly different headspace than record the videos, push the button, wait a couple minutes, see the results. Like that workflow is like, the feedback loop is like measured in minutes, whereas in this one, where it's measured in seconds or even less. um Again, like this form I think is not that useful just because it's such a low frame rate. um but ultimately I think for the project, it's like the real-time stuff. It's like it's funny because like I let me one of my personalities, one of my personas, one of the versions of myself that lives in my head, absolutely agrees that post hoc is life. um but the part of me that has like banged my head against technology and has tried to get things working, like that part of me knows that like the like really short feedback loops are the thing that makes, like, ultimately that's where expertise comes from, because the number, I think it's those little momentary tests, like the what was I gonna like it's like, oh, like I guess I'm thinking about this especially for new users, right? Like people come in like, oh, it didn't calibrate and I don't know why. It's like, oh, it's because it didn't detect your board, and they go, oh shit, and then now they go back, and then like that loop was maybe like hours because they tried it, it didn't work, they went to ask for help, and then they came back. Also, we got to assume 90+% of people won't ever do that ask for help step, so they'll try it, it didn't work, they walk away, never come back. Whereas if we can set something up that it's like, oh, hold on, I can tell it's not detecting because I'm looking at it and it didn't detect. Now that feedback loop is instantaneous, and so they can say, oh, why isn't it like, hold on, let me, so yeah, so like bottom right, it's like, why isn't that working? It's like, oh, because it's too bright, let me like lean forward a little bit, and now it's detecting better. Like, I think, yeah. When people getting excited solving an issue, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. It's a different. It changes the game in a really significant way to have the real time output, um, and it's like, again, like I think by forcing myself to target that, it made it a harder problem than it would have been to just say let's recreate the V1 capacities in a new, like, architecture. And ultimately, if I had targeted that, the question is like, it's possible that I would have been able to get to something like the V2 version, like possibly like a year and a half ago. um, and then the question is, if I had done that and then switched and tried to build the read time, would I have gotten to that point faster? And I don't know the answer to that. It's hard to say. Um, but in any case, I'm kind of happy with where we are now. Uh, I also, let's see, I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. I think I'll probably cut it at about the 2 hour mark. And I'm gonna try to do more of these kind of like just developer streams, just sort of like relatively unstructured. Um, just sort of get it out there. In any case, we got some good work done. I was able to sort of get back to this point of like, getting it back working, hit into some of, ran into some of the standard bugs that I knew about but had forgotten about. Some of the stuff that I had like had some of the stuff that was fixed in SkellyCam but not in FreeMoCap. And then critically, I think like making the decision of that the next step of this is to target um, pulling over SkellyCam UI into FreeMoCap UI, and then creating the post hoc, the post hoc processing pipeline. I think is the right move. See, look at the little arms there. This is cute. This image is too dark, so it's losing track of stuff and making its guesses. Also, because it's real time, it's running the dumb model. So if it was the heavier model, would be more accurate, but then it would run even slower. And I think if I hard target upgrading, cleaning up the FreeMoCap UI, and then rebuilding the sidebar control panel to and the back end to have the basically to replicate the post hoc processing capacities of FreeMoCap. I think I can get there in a week. That might be optimistic, but what are we? What are we but the sum of our optimisms? Um, uh, a lot of things actually. It's one of those things like it sounds nice, but it's actually not smart. Yeah, and like there's this last. I mean, I don't know. Updating the 3D viewport is something else that's kind of like on the secondary task list. I should not focus on that. I should focus on like existing Blender pipelines and stuff like that because they exist and I can create like I can make the things that already exist work in the new system before trying to make the things that don't exist work. Like like fixing whatever the hell is going on here. Um, yeah, yeah. Anyway, okay. Um, it's fun though. It's even at the low frame rate, it's compelling. It's kind of like it's like, oh yeah, that is what I'm doing with my hand. Look at that. There we go. I'll bet I can rebuild this into a post hoc thing, and I'll bet it'll look well. I think a lot of the weirdness of it is just like scaling issues. Um, I didn't use the I did not use the ground plane calibration. I don't think it works on this in this version. Um, so this is I actually think it's not. I think the unit is in Truco units. I think one in this 3D world is defined as the length of the side of one of the black squares. So a lot of stuff that can be fixed there. Uh, yeah. Anyway, that's what we got going on right now. Um, I do like this representation of the face. It's the media pipe face. but it's just the contours, and it looks much, much better than what we used to do of just like the full mesh dot blob. It also drops the marker count from like 568 down to like 173 or something like that. Um, so that's good. Um, yeah, I don't think this stuff works. Like, yeah, like this. Wait, hold on. Like these like don't even work at all. I'll probably leave these broken, just so I can target the goal. Shortest path to victory. Boop boop a doop boop. Yeah, see, this is, anyways. There's a whole restructuring that can be done. Um, it's a good plan. And then I try not to target. I mean, let me rephrase that. I feel like I should try not to target uh particular streaming goals, like streaming once a week. Like maybe that's the wrong idea, but at the same time, maybe it's not. Maybe I should be targeting that because I think once a week would be a good number, especially if I can sort of pick a time and sort of stick to it. Uh, but anyways, I might also, but I also feel like I should. I don't know. Uh, uh, but yeah, we'll see. You know what? I'll just say it. I'm gonna try to target one stream a week. We'll see if I do it. But even if I do one every 2 weeks, that's still better than my current base rate. So if you're interested in this, follow along. You know, whatever alerts you want. Um, I will also focus. I'm gonna tag. I should figure something out so that it makes a little sort of like unobtrusive post in the server when I start streaming, so people can follow that. Um, and I should probably also figure out how to multi-stream to YouTube or whatever, but just so there can be a non-ad version. But uh, complexity is a challenge. Um, Mycon asks, "Love this project. Thanks, Mycon. I love you too. I appreciate your consistency of whatever." Um, have we looked into animated Gaussian splatting? I have thought a lot about animated Gaussian splatting. I have not looked into it. I know that it's like because I think my background, my interests, and my funding strategies are all kind of focused on like kinematic data. Like I have a couple like there's like a bunch of grants I'm planning to apply for through the NIH and NSF between now. I think I had like five in mind, and I think they're due like between now and like October. Big boy grants, like big boy grants. Um, uh, and for those, like the kinematic accuracies, that's the thing. Like that's the thing that needs to exist. That's the stuff that Aaron has been working on. And so that's kind of the hard target is like making like do not be what's do not be distracted by the beautiful celebrities. Like do not be distracted by the new hotness in video based reconstruction. Is kind of how I feel about the Gaussian splatting thing. Because it's like if I focus on that, then I won't, because the limited resource here is like human labor. If I were to focus on the Gaussian splatting, then that would be progress we don't make towards like just the kinematic, like the quality of the kinematic output. However, that said, this is also very much so something like Gaussian splatting I put in probably the same category as face tracking, multi-person tracking, object tracking, all of these kind of things that are like that would live in this space and would live happily in this space, but they're not the top of the priority queue, and they will not be the top of the priority queue until it will not be the top of the priority queue for me until or unless someone decides to pay me to develop that. Like if you are a funded person or organization and you're like, God, I really wish FreeMoCap had multi-person tracking, give us money, and all of a sudden I will bump that right to the top of the list. I promise you that. That's where like the ferret stuff, if you've been following, was basically that. Like, can you track animals? It's like, can you pay me? And my colleague friend Ben said, yes, we can. And I was like, well, then great. And let's focus on that. Um, but yeah, Gaussian splatting, like that's the kind of thing I would love to see as like a community plugin, right? Like that would be like a thing that you could build into here. Um, yeah, so the Gaussian splatting thing, so I would say that's in the same look up like Simple X, SMPL, Michael Black's stuff. There's like a whole little subgenre or subfield within the motion tracking space around like matching like putting meshes to the skeletons. Uh I'm not as interested in that stuff because in my understanding, they basically are building the 3D mesh fitting on top of the 2D data that we're currently using. And I would say they are not doing as good a job of reconstructing the 2D kinematic data. They're declaring victory way faster than I ever would. And then because it's kind of like goes into that aesthetic recreation space rather than like a real empirical recreation, they use I would not consider all of those steps truth preserving, if you know what I mean. So I think that some of the like like clothes and environment occlusion fitting and stuff like that. I think the fancier tools often are geared towards solving those problems. Fancier tools meaning like the Gaussian whatever and the simple X and just the mesh stuff. Um, but they're building it's like they're building additional processing on top of the stuff that I want to focus on cleaning up. So we're gonna keep doing that, and then but like building the right API, building the right documentation, building the right tutorials, building the right templates, so that if you're building something that requires synchronized videos either in post hoc or in real time, we got you covered there. Like and you can build, you or whoever else can build a community plugin to do that kind of processing and then have it available. And then that kind of stuff will also benefit from us being really careful about the 3D fidelity and the cleanup pipelines and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Pooh has no skeleton. Uh, it is an empirical question as to whether she has a skeleton. Someday we will discover whether or not cats have skeletons, but current evidence suggests that they do not. All right, it's okay. She'll somehow she survives. Oh, okay. Bye. Classic cat stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. Pretty much 2 hours on the dot, and I think that is about what I have in my tank. So thanks for anyone who's watching this real time or post hoc. You know what I'm saying? See what I did there? Thank you for my icon for the thoughts and questions and continued interest. I think I saw some other familiar names. I think Studio Galt was around. I think I saw them. Yeah. Um, Studio Galt, if I recall correctly, I think I saw something on there. I came across your username somewhere associated with uh, sign language, which obviously we are sort of roughly in that space. Um, but we'll get there. It's hard. It's hard problem. Hands are hard. But we'll get there. Okay. Uh, Thank you everybody for everything that you are. And yeah, I'll have a good Monday, have a good week. I'll check in sometime soon about wherever I would manage to get. Um, Possibly next Monday, possibly not. Only time will tell. Okay. Bye. Mwah.